kind of the biggest decision I've made so far in terms of my life with football, what I'm doing currently. I was watching a video this morning of a guy named Hunter McIntyre and just him training for his higher ups. Honestly, like insane stuff they go through. Over the 100K didn't scare me. A lot of other things in my life that I've done haven't scared me, but this one.
So many people want to be comfortable, which is what the average move is. The average move is being comfortable. Everyone wants to be comfortable, but the people who take the step to the right instead of the left are the people who typically are okay with discomfort, okay with failure. Your example there is you took a step to the right and then you made that failure into something that worked for you. If you want to be in the top 1% of people, there's such an easy filter to get into that, let's say even top 25% of people. And I believe that to literally just get into the top 25% of people, all you need to do to get into the top 25% of people is literally just believe that you can. Because 75% of people believe that they're not the ones who can do it, and that immediately disqualifies them from ever doing it. And so many people believe that they can't make anything work. If you just start to believe that you can be something greater than what you are currently, you will automatically be in the top 25% of people. The more you believe it, the more likely it's to happen. I actually believe that you should create a bubble that's really, really tight knit, and you shouldn't go outside of it when you're young. And then you build up all the skills that you need, whether it's confidence, whether it's the way that you dress, whether it's the way that you speak to people, whatever it is, you build it up in that really, really tight circle so that you have the skills then to break free from that bubble and actually share it with people and actually start to be more confident in public. Maybe it's start to have better conversations with people. I think that if you can create a space where you can really, really develop with a group of people who aren't actually just saying yes, 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 who are actually helping you develop like what we've got, Liam, that is actually then going to help you build the confidence to then. People have a demand for instant gratification. They always want the next source of dopamine. Think about how that's very, very clear in our current lifestyle. Maybe it's through results, maybe it's through changing and chopping and starting a new thing, maybe it's someone's attention span. Well, it's actually being trained into us, right? These things here are like weapons, the legitimate weapons that are training you into taking the easy route. This is always the easy route. We're really getting the reps in. We're getting the reps in quick to train ourselves that, yeah, the next thing's going to be the better thing. And when we put this into a real life circumstance, you don't take action on things because you're looking for the next source of dopamine. If you look at dopamine, it's kind of like a resting heart rate, okay? The more you do it, the lower your resting heart rate gets. That's efficiency. You're training your brain to be so efficient in consuming things, but that's actually not what you want from your brain, because over consuming things, whether it's content, whether it's food, this is training bad habits, and it's actually teaching you in life that you need the next source of dopamine as soon as possible. And this is where you get people who start something and stop it immediately. Maybe this is where they actually don't even want to then go do something because they've trained themselves to get instant gratification. And the joy on the other side of doing something hard is something that they'll never achieve.
You can't expect that overnight. Nothing's successful at all. And even if it does happen, you're probably going to lose it overnight as well.
So I just make it so convenient and so easy to do it that you've got no other option but to. Make an environment so that you've got zero excuses but to do the thing. And that's actually exactly what we've got with this podcast. We're making it so easy. That's why we're not too fast on production as of the past few months, is because we just wanted to make it so easy that we can just upload consistently and never miss an episode, because eventually it will just be so easy for us to do episodes, and then we can start fixating on the smaller things. Welcome to this episode, guys, of the SCULPTED podcast. It is another week, right? It is episode 140 something, which is, we're deep. We're actually so deep in. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm back in Australia now. First time that we've done where I'm back in Australia and Liam's here. So yeah, Liam, tell me why we're a little bit excited today about the new setup.
So I've got my new camera here this is the first episode, I think, like obviously on two different sides of the world, filming on my new camera, Nick's camera. But yeah, everything moving forward is going to be sick. It's going to look so nice. And then we also just need to fix up a bit of lighting on my side, hopefully over the next week or two, and then we should be good to go.
Should be good to go. Yeah, I mean, it's a slow burn, this one, but we're in it for the long run, so that's not much of a worry for us. And we've also even changed up the content strategy here a little bit as well. So, Liam, maybe you want to go over what the new strategy going forwards is for the podcast.
Yeah, so we're going to be giving kind of a lot more value. We want to provide you guys with a lot more value, especially if you're spending your time listening to us once, twice a week, whatever it is. We want to be giving you as much value as possible. So what we're doing is structuring the episodes with about 4 main key points we want to speak about. So 2 from myself, 2 from Nick. And these are going to be kind of designed around what we think is providing the most value to you and what we see information in and value in throughout that week of things that come into our minds and what we want to speak about on the pod. But yeah, anything you want to add on that?
I mean, to be fair, you covered it pretty well. Very much, yeah, provide value. One thing that I do like doing is my solo episodes, which I've consistently done for the whole time I've had this podcast. And I think that, if the listeners aren't getting value out of it, I'm at least getting value out of it. And now that Liam and I can do this together, it also just, makes a good point for having a bit of a discussion, really, and throwing some ideas about rather than just confirming all of my own beliefs by myself, which is very consistent in a lot of the things that I do. But I do try and provide as much natural pushback as possible. But Liam, what do you think about making a few of your own solo eps? You have done it as well before, but what do you think?
Yeah, no, I will. I will do some moving forward. I mean, right now, with everything at the moment, over the next 2-3 months is going to be crazy. And then obviously what's just gone as well. Yeah, we're just crazy with things happening with obviously Live Free, Sleep Smart, and then at the moment I'm trying to find an editor of my videos. I was having to think about it last night as well. And I don't know, maybe it's something I do. Maybe I just stick with it and try do the editing myself for my short form and just try maybe get an editor for long form. Yeah, I don't know. I think going maybe into it deep, like for both of them, might be just a bit of a hassle, but we'll see. We'll see over the next few months. We'll see how things go, really.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you can go into a little bit more detail without revealing too much why at the moment you're looking at getting an editor in.
Yeah, so with my Instagram, I predominantly are looking to get an editor to increase not only the video quality themselves, it's also going to save me time. Then going to grow my personal brand, going to grow everything overall. Because if I'm growing my personal brand, going to grow Sleep Smart, going to grow Live Free, going to grow everything in literally one simultaneous route. So my personal brand is obviously a big pusher.
What's a big word for you?
It needs to show. My personal brand is obviously a big pusher in terms of the professional diary. So yeah, I think if I'm getting an editor for that and the videos are high quality, they're color graded correctly. Obviously, I'm just still now learning color grading, and just started literally only like a few days ago shooting log footage on this new camera. So it's not that hard, In Final Cut, it's actually not hard. I can't do it in Final Cut. That's the problem because my computer crashes. In CapCut, it makes it look horrible. That's the only reason. So Final Cut, it's actually quite easy. I like it with the different dials and you can put the charts on there. Like that's actually quite nice. But then you go to CapCut and it's just, it's not great for color grading, to be honest.
I mean, I'm impressed that you even are able to figure that out. That is true. CapCut isn't professional. It's very unprofessional, but in that you can make stuff that looks quite nice. I've made a lot of really cool stuff in CapCut. It just makes it really quick and easy to do things. But the grade in CapCut's very limited. Even in Final Cut, it's still relatively limited. But in DaVinci 100%. Resolve, that's probably the number one. But I've only just moved to DaVinci Resolve now. And Liam, I don't know if you would ever do that. Do you think you'd ever make a move?
I would, but my computer can't handle it at the moment, so that's the thing.
Okay. That's the other thing, actually. I do have to get a new computer now because my computer can't handle it. I exported a 132 gigabyte file off DaVinci Resolve yesterday. And yeah, it was a 25-minute video. It was crazy.
Yeah. Do you want to go over what you want to speak about today in terms of topics and everything then?
So my topics are, I have a lot of thoughts throughout the week consistently, and the people who listen in frequently would know that I speak about this one guy very often, and his name's Jack, and I've had him on the podcast before, and we speak every Wednesday just about philosophy, and it's not like a direct thing like, oh, let's read about Aristotle. It's nothing like that. But we talk about philosophies that we're like almost trying to curate in our own minds. Like we'll have a thought or a topic that comes into mind, and we'll just discuss it and try and expand on it. And we have a Notion page where we do this as well. Quite often we make up random words and random analogies or examples. And there's been a few things in the current world and the current world that we're living in, the state that we're living in, that have popped up to mind, and a lot of different analogies that have come into my mind with that. A cool analogy that it's the most random thing, Liam. Like this happens when I'm swinging on a tree, and then I think about, wow, this tree, it's so weak, but it looks so strong on the outside. Wow, and then I create just a random analogy, bro, about how like something about, I wrote it down in the Notion page, but it's like how a tree can have weak roots but look great on the outside, and you could push it over and it will fall over. But a tree with strong roots may not look too strong on the outside, but on the inside, it's got the strongest roots ever. Analysis.
Nick could be turned into Steve Bartlett with these quotes.
Well, I'm not going to be talking about how you can get more friends by having stronger legs.
Stronger thighs, actually.
But oh, that one's a bit crazy. That one's a bit crazy. What do you want to go into? What do you want to go into in terms of your topics today?
My topic. So I'm going over kind of the biggest decision I've made so far in terms of my life with football, what I'm doing currently, more personal, if anything, and then also I want to go over. Not that I've already gone over it much with the 100 kilometer ultra. I want to go.
Oh, did you do an ultra marathon?
I'm apparently not, because someone's not edited the video yet. He needs to get it out in 2 weeks. I need it by 2 weeks. That's real.
Okay, 2 weeks. Yeah, I think I can do that.
Okay, cool. And then I want to go over kind of a high rocks challenge I'm partaking in, or I'm going to partake in. It's going to be crazy. Okay. This is one thing that's scared me over the 100K didn't scare me. A lot of other things in my life that I've done haven't scared me, but this one, I was watching a video this morning of a guy named Hunter McIntyre, which we'll go into in a bit, and just him training for his high rocks. Honestly, like insane stuff they go through. So I've got a few years to do it, but we'll go into that.
Okay, all right. I'll go into my first little thought that it's been a topic this week for me, actually, and a lot of different ideas came out of this. Maybe a few videos that I want to make from it. But the thing is that if you want indifferent results, if you want to be in the 1% of people, what type of action does that require? Do you think that you have to do the exact same thing as every other person? The average person who wakes up at 7 a.m., goes to their 9 to 5, and if you have that same ambition as, trying to become that 1%, do you think that taking the actions that everyone else is going to take is going to help you get there? Personally, I don't think that's going to help you get anywhere. I think that that's going to help you be one of the, 99%ers, not that 1%. If you want to become that 1%, you have to take actions that only the 1% are willing to take. I think it's the easiest way to start separating yourself from the crowd. I don't know what you think about that, Liam, but I think both of us.
Every industry. Like, you see the difference between us and Stephen Bartlett, let's say, for example. We were just speaking about him before. The difference between us and him is he's that 1%. He has a whole team surrounding him to make a podcast. We have the two of us. He has a team, my sister, the head of experiments, failing, like just to learn different failures. And he has teams doing research about the talent or the guest themselves, about what their favorite smell is, what their favorite song is, so we can put it on in the podcast room before they come in and they feel calm and welcome. Like, he's going these 1% before a podcast. Like, no other podcaster is doing that. Do you know what I mean? So if in every industry, there's always that 1% leading person who's going to go over and above And since I was just speaking about Hunter McIntyre, basically he's this 3 times, 4 times Hyrox world champion, and I just watched a 30-minute video of him whilst I was having breakfast, eating breakfast, and I was watching what he did because he's just lost for the first time in the world champs against someone else in the Nice one. He like came 4th or 5th or whatever it was, and he was saying he explained the entire training program. He went from like 3 Hyroxes before to the one he was at, and he changed so many different things with all these 1% changes, but all those 1% changes actually ended up defeating him because he changed too many things at once, if that makes sense. Like he changed his nutritionist, he changed his training, he changed his training coach, he then added in training in an altitude chamber, he added in more mileage. Like, I think doing all the 1% is really good, but I think you have to stack them on top of each other once you know that 1% works, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've probably gone on a bit of a tangent to what my main point was. My main point is that he's already there. He's already in the 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we can go into that, but I think that we've skipped a massive thing, which is because you were talking about people who are already in the 1% who maybe didn't get to that position by doing the current things that they're doing now. For Stephen Bartlett, he couldn't afford to have your sister work for him when he only had 2 people listening to his podcast, right? The reason why we can't afford to do those things that Stephen Bartlett can afford to do, even just financially, is because he can afford to do it financially because he's got the biggest podcast in the world. For us, I think that we'd be even more obsessive than Stephen Bartlett in things like that. I think that Stephen Bartlett is very obsessive, but I think that we could take it to the next level where we'd be, oh, you've got 1 header failure? Well, guess what? We've got 5. Things like that. And we'd be competitive about it. That's where, like, I think a lot of people who would be at the top would also act like they're at the top and try and keep that status of being at the top. But it's actually getting to the top that's very hard as well. And, all of it's quite difficult. But taking the actions, I think it's as simple as turning right when everyone else turns left, because most people are average. Most people are average. And I said this to your mum, actually. I don't know if it was in the car whilst you're doing an ultra marathon, but it may have... it was. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah. The average people about...
For there to be winners?
And stuff.
Yeah. I was talking about for there to be winners, there must be losers. And there's always going to be, 30 more losers for each winner. So to be that 1%, it's a whole lot of turning right when everyone else turns left. What do you think about that?
But it's also a whole lot of failure and a whole lot of going through failure and seeing those failures as a way to grow and a way to keep stepping forward. Like a failure for me may have been
which typically is turning right.
Yeah, and a failure for me might have been okay. I didn't hit the under 10 hours that I wanted to, and I could see that I wasn't going to hit that throughout the 100k ultra. I could have just stopped or even gone slower and thought, okay, like fuck it, I can't be bothered here. I'll just walk the rest of it. But like, it's just for me, I just kept pushing through that because I knew the best time possible I can get is the best time possible I can get. Like I've only trained 2 months for this. Do you know what I mean? So I think you see those failures, but then you're also like, how can I make the best out of this situation as well?
I also still think that you can get under 10 hours. Just let's just say that you just took.
I could if I train, and if I. Oh no, yeah. If it was flat,
no, I'm saying
like if it was a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was flat,
it was a hard track. That was a hard track.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to do the other one, is it Race to the Stones? I think you could have done that in under 10.
I don't know. I haven't looked at that route, to be fair, so I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you didn't look at this one either before you did it, so that's good.
Yeah. Exactly. Go run 103 kilometers, you don't know the route. Sick.
Yeah. Sick. Okay, so we talked a little bit about, taking the different steps. I personally believe that what you spoke about there with the failure part is being okay with failure. So many people want to be comfortable, which is what the average move is. The average move is being comfortable. Everyone wants to be comfortable, but the people who take the step to the right instead of the left are the people who typically are okay with discomfort, okay with failure. Your example there is you took a step to the right and then you made that failure into something that worked for you. What do you think?
Definitely. No, 100%. I mean, I'm going to have a load of failure over these next 1 to 2 years. I can guarantee you that. Like right now, like
Yeah.
going into if I can go into the High thing in a minute, but like this High thing I'm going into, and with Sleep Smart and Live Free, we're going to have, like we did yesterday, we're going to have loads of failures in terms of mini failures along the way that we grow from. But with the High thing, like I'm going to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail until I get what I want. And that's why this challenge for me is going to be so important, because it's a long-term one, similar to football in a way. Like I'm going to have years to train for it, like not just this 2-month ultra marathon. I'm done, cool, I've achieved it, next thing. Like it's going to be something I can set my eyes on for a few years and not rush the process as well.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think that's also what I was thinking when you said about similar to football. I was also thinking that it is quite similar to football in that it's just less competitive, which just makes it a little bit nicer. But it also will be highly competitive because it's elite athletes at the end of the day, and an Olympian who has never trained for it before might be really good at it just because.
Yeah, some of these guys are insane. Like honestly, no, not most of them are insane that are doing it. These high rockers, but I can go into that. But we'll speak about the failure a bit more. Like even with Live Free, yesterday, Nick was saying obviously there was things we could have worked on. I won't delve deep into obviously the details of it, but there was things we could have worked on with filming and shooting and setups and those kind of things. And it's just going to be things we grow from each course we film for the platform. And even with developing the platform at the moment, like we've had setbacks with the code and the software and trying to launch the different courses of where we're going to put them, and it's just growth points that we're able to learn from. And then if we were to do something in 6-12 years time and we're like, okay, we know exactly how to do it now, like we've done it, we've gone through every single failure there, here's what we know is wrong and here's what we know is right, let's go down the right route, and then we're going to see more failures that way, but we can pivot earlier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Just to be clear as well, if anyone is listening who later watches the Live Free course that we've produced, a failure isn't the right real word. I understand what you're saying by that, but it was just
not
a
failure.
moment where it's like, oh, okay, we could do this better for the next one, because we're also working with a very, very low budget.
But even the word failure from the start, like I know you said about, well, I said it more so in terms of the 1%, and you fail and you learn from those failures, but they're not failures really. They're just more.
And we also don't see them as failures.
Yeah, but they're not, like even if you did fail and I didn't even complete the 103 race, like, or I didn't make my pro debut, they're not failures. I've learned lessons all throughout the entire time of like doing it and accomplishing.
But people who aren't like us probably would see them as failures.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just take them as learning points. I mean, I'd call it a failure sometimes if I was in that bad mindset, but when you see it after 2 days' time and you actually reflect on it, you realize it's not a failure. Because I'm pretty sure you're probably the same.
Yeah.
Like in the time and point, if you did your 10K and you didn't get under 40 minutes, and you're like, that's a failure for me.
Nah.
But then you
I actually don't see it like that. I'm very long term when it comes to. No, I think I'm a little bit like your brother in that. Like, would you say your brother doesn't, like, in the moment, he's...
No.
Maybe that's not the best example, but I wouldn't say in the moment I recognize failure and then 2 days later think, okay,
I would say Val's quite similar in that sense.
Actually, I would say I'm very similar to Val with that. Yeah. Because like even with yesterday, I'm thinking straight away, okay, next time I'll just do this better, and I know what I can do next time, where I'm not really saying it's a failure. Maybe it's even I'm just reframing it to make it work for me rather than work against me, which is a convenient lie potentially, but it's also a convenient lie that helps me. So I think that's a good way of thinking about it. It just requires a lot of self-awareness as well.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So talk about the Hyrox a little bit more then.
I'll go into kind of what I want to go into. Give me 2 seconds, just get this up. The computer's slow as hell. Is the Hyrox, and then I'll go into kind of the decision that I made earlier a few months ago as well that kind of changed my life. But yeah, the Hyrox. Since I finished my ultra, I've not been able to train for like 2 weeks post it, but I then saw Hyrox's on social media, and I was like, oh, it looks pretty sick, like my style of training, everything like that. And then I was like, right, okay, I've done my ultramarathon against all odds with too much training. Now can I become the world champion for the Hyrox with 3 or 4 years training? So that's what it is. I'm going to try to become the youngest person, I'm going to try to become the person in the 16 to 24 age bracket and break that world record. The current world record for that, I'm pretty sure I've got it written down here as Jake Dearden. He actually followed me the other day. It's 57:09. I think he got that in Glasgow. But the actual overall world record for like all Hyroxes, all age groups, is 53 minutes 22 seconds. I think by Hunter McIntyre, who was the guy I was speaking about earlier. Basically, for those people that don't know what a Hyrox is, it's a workout consisting of eight intervals. So you've got a 1 kilometer interval run. You then go into your next. I don't know the full details. I know obviously all the exercises, but in terms of the full on, off the back of my head, like I can see it on paper.
Okay.
But like,
I guess it is a lot. Yeah.
It's like okay, I'll try to remember it. Okay, so you've got the 1 kilometer run straight off the bat, and then you go into 1,000 kilometer ski. 1,000 meter ski, 1 kilometer run, and then you go into a 50 meter sled push, 1 kilometer run, 50 meter sled pull, 1 kilometer run. I think there's a row in there somewhere as well. 1 kilometer run, sandbag lunges. So I think it's like a 30 kg sandbag. So you've got to go 100 meter lunges. 1 kilometer run again. So in between each exercise, there's always a 1 kilometer run. Then there's kettlebell carries, which is like 100 meters. Then there's wall balls, which is basically where you squat, throw the ball up against the wall, catch it, and squat again. There's just a bunch of different exercises, basically kind of a functional test for your fitness as well. And yeah, I feel like if I'm able to train for 2, 3, 4 years for it, I can build up that endurance strength. This is going to be a massive thing. I put on size quite easily as well, so that's going to be not a problem for me in that sense. I'll be able to gain a lot more size now that I'm specifically training for that, not any marathons, ultra marathons, or anything like that. But yeah, that is my goal, is to become the youngest person. I haven't announced it on my Instagram or anything yet. I'm still processing it, but this will come out in like a week or 2 weeks.
Liam Miller exclusive on the SCULPTED podcast.
Exactly. But yeah, the youngest person. No, I need to stop saying that. I'm gonna break the ultra. I can't speak today. I actually can't speak. I'm going to break the Hyrox record for the 16 to 24 age group. That's it. Cool.
It's going to get more and more competitive. That's the thing. Like Jake, if you're listening, you got some competition.
He's definitely not.
I back my boy. Well, he said he followed you, so he could be. He might be, researching the competition. I'm going to be clickbaiting this title.
Yeah, he might see a little snippet and click on it.
Yeah. So, Jacob boy, what's up? That's Liam. He might be competition. I'd watch out. So I back you, bro.
Him the other day.
Back you.
I asked him the other day if I could.
Oh yeah, you did tell me that you spoke with him.
Yeah, I didn't speak with him. I DM'd him. He didn't respond. But I was like, I'd love to come train with you for a day and document it and like video it and stuff. But he didn't respond. So we'll see. He did follow me after that DM, which was weird though. Like he never did follow me after. That is weird. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's definitely not going to reply now saying let's do it.
No, he's a busy guy, bro. He works with like George Eaton and stuff. He does the training for Represent's like team. So they have a gym at their office, and he does
Oh
like
yeah,
all their high rock style trainings at their office. And obviously, he's training for his own
yeah, that's
world
pretty cool.
champions with the ultras and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I don't blame him.
And how old is he?
24, 23, 24, 24.
Oh, okay. So he won't be competition then, because you'll be in 2 years' time.
No, he won't.
20,
Yeah, in two years time.
21.
Yeah. He won't be competition in a few years time. So
Okay.
Maybe I just get him as a.
You're safe, Jake.
coach.
Don't worry.
His record might not be there.
To be fair, it could be something in the line there, Jake. As I said, I back you. Okay, all right. Liam, are you able to talk a little bit about a upcoming trip potentially?
Oh, yeah, I am actually. I forgot about that. I already
Took you a
forgot. I was like, what trip is he on about? Yeah, so I'm going to Barcelona on early August, like first few days of August, to go to a, what would you call it, networking event. There's actually a few, I think there's around like 200, 300 people going to be there. And yeah, it's pretty much a networking event for Daniel Dalen, who is what would you call him? A business person. His business partner is also in e-commerce. If you know who Samuel
Wait, sorry.
O'Neill-
Did you say 200, 300 people?
Yeah, 200 signups already.
But, bro, he's barely got 100,000 followers on social media, and he's able to pull that many people
It's
in
Iman,
a
it's
country
Iman
that
type
doesn't even
following,
speak
though,
English.
Right, it's E-Man type following. People are coming from all across the world. I was texting, so there's a guy in the group chat. He created a Telegram group chat yesterday. I was going to text you this, and then I thought, oh, I'll just leave it. I'll speak to you about it on the pod tomorrow. But it's a good thing you brought it up, to be honest. But this guy, he's from Bristol, and he used to play for Bristol City. He's like 23. He used to be an ex-pro at Bristol City. He was a goalkeeper. And he is now starting, he's 1 month ago, started a e-commerce brand. And guess what the e-commerce brand industry is? Well, not necessarily, but sleep and recovery. Bro, I was like, he didn't tell me the product. He's like, oh, I can't release that yet, mate. But I was like, right, okay. But yeah, I'm gonna catch up with him when I'm there as well. But it's just crazy. Like people coming from all around the world just to go to there. I mean, I'm one of them really. It's not too far, but like people are coming from India. Like people flying 6,000 miles. Like honestly, crazy.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, fair play to him. I think, yeah, he set a standard, and very, very influential. I think he's relatively charismatic. I don't watch too much of him, but I've seen a few episodes. I don't know, is he someone who a lot of people wanna like be around, like charismatic wise? Do you think?
I think he would. Yeah, I mean, I've not seen him in person. I don't think you can really say that off of someone you've not met in person, but. Like you can always put these admirations.
Well, I knew with Val,
people,
like before I met Val.
But people portray a different light when you look through social media as well. Like people would see me.
Yeah, but
I think, like, do you know what I mean? Like I'm very different. If you just saw me,
but you also your videos are non-verbal though.
But they're transitioning more to that now. But if you saw me, that was just a little sneak peek. But if you saw me in my first representation of my Instagram when you first saw me and what you think of me now, like, would they be different?
Yeah. No, honestly, no.
I actually want to know that. Oh, no. Oh.
You like pretty much exactly matched what I expected because I never heard you speak. I remember the first time I heard you speak and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now. Like, that's probably why he doesn't speak. Wait, that's no, that makes me sound like I'm making fun of your voice. No, it's like I didn't think I had a voice for your face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone does.
Imagine if you've seen someone, but you've never heard what they sound like. It was like, oh, okay, that makes just sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that's Liam. And then when I met you in person, pretty much what I was expecting. And then when I met you again for the second time. Pretty much what I was expecting.
Just work, training, speak, food, work, trainers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I think Daniel's like.
But I mean,
Daniel, he's
I
got
think
a funny.
like Val, for example.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
I think Val's just really charismatic. Like you can tell through a screen.
Yeah.
Did you see what he posted with Germany getting knocked out? He's so funny, bro. Like
The story.
this guy.
I was
he's
gonna
just,
send that to you.
Yeah, he's
I
just
didn't watch
screaming
the
at
whole
the camera.
story, but
He's
I just saw him go.
"Hi!"
Yeah, I just saw that. I just saw that.
And then he posts a picture of his tattoos. I'm thinking, what a juxtaposition here. He's got a smiley face, and he's just been screaming at the camera, and it's
Yeah, I've seen that.
oh, that guy. I love Val so much. He's funny. He is funny. Goodness me. Yeah. Okay, bro. I'm excited to see what happens. When you go to Barcelona, I think it'll be a really good networking
I was actually
opportunity.
going to go, you know.
Definitely. Val.
Yeah, he's booked a ticket for it. Sorry, I forgot to say to you, he's booked a ticket for it. And he said he can't
I was
book
gonna
flights
say
and hotel yet.
you should invite Val.
He said yeah, no, I did. I sent it to him. He can't book flights and hotel yet, just because he said it's going to be a spontaneous one. In that sense, because he doesn't know with football and everything.
Yeah.
But he says he's definitely going to go if he doesn't have any football commitments or anything.
That would be so sick. Okay, I was really hoping so, but I was thinking football-wise it might be a bit of a struggle. But if he's keen for a spontaneous one, then yeah, that would be so sick. That would be so cool to see you guys link up in Barcelona. That'd be mad. Actually, wait, his sister lives in Barcelona, I think, doesn't she? That would be even. Yeah.
No, she's in Madrid, I think.
Yeah.
She said she's in Madrid now. Sister's actually going to come
so
to the
Barcelona
thing as well, though. Yeah, she's going to come as well. So
you're having the holiday with your sister?
I wouldn't say it's a holiday. I would say more of a. I mean, yeah, it would be like half work, half holiday. I still need to work.
Yeah. How many days are you going?
Yeah. The 2nd till I want to say the 7th. I think maybe the 6th of August.
Okay.
The thing's on it's on the 3rd.
A bit of an in and out.
Yeah, not long.
Yeah. Okay. What is your next topic?
My next topic. So I want to go over the one decision. Can I zoom in on Notion? No, I can't. I don't know why.
No, unfortunately not. Notion. If you're looking for a good feature, yeah, do that.
Yeah, that'll zoom in. The one decision kind of that changed my life 3 months ago was committing from leaving football to just really going over doing whatever I wanted in my life. And that was a huge decision. I posted a video about it on Instagram the other day, the biggest decision I made in my life, and that was leaving football so far. But it's been one of the best decisions. I've been able to have so much more freedom, time-wise, work-wise, life-wise, like lifestyle choices. I can go do an ultra marathon. I can now go to the gym whenever I want to. I can go to work, go to London, go fly to Australia if I wanted to. Obviously within financial reasons, but yeah, I have so much more time freedom now. Obviously I work for myself, so that's a big thing in that sense. I can also have that freedom. I'm not like constrained by anything. And that was a huge reason for me. I've always wanted that kind of freedom to be able to do that. And with football, or I'd say most sports in general, you're always controlled. Controlled is a strong term. I don't like that, but like it did help for social media purposes. But you're always in this constriction of the coach, the club.
It's probably more of a construct that constricts you.
I was going to say that, but hey-ho.
Yeah, well, you didn't.
You're always in this kind of little atmosphere of the coach, the club, and where you need to be at a certain time, and they've kind of, I wouldn't say got that over you, but you're always constantly thinking about that. And I can just create my own routine whenever I want. And Nick can probably see that with my life. I like to have my routines, and whether it's not a very strict routine of like things popping up, as Nick saw like loads of things pop up in my life, but like my routine of going to the gym every day, eating my certain ways, waking up early, getting my hopefully sometimes good sleep, and just kind of my healthy habits, if that makes sense. What's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I I think that the way that you do routine and the way that I do routine is a little bit different. I'm very like structured and very you also are very structured, but like for example, you'll wake up at random times where if I am in my routine, for example, I will have to go to bed at 9 p.m. every night and wake up at 4 a.m. every morning or something like that. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't say it on a podcast, but there's a specific word for it, and that's very much me to a T. You spoke about something else that was the first part. What were you speaking about the first part?
in terms of me leaving or
Oh, I
freedom.
remember. Yeah. So the time part. So I actually have no issue with the time part with football. It's there for a reason. If there was a better way of doing it, there would be. If there was a better way of doing it, people would do that. There isn't a better way of doing it because a lot of footballers are pretty lazy with showing up. Most of them are late anyways. So that kind of construct is there for a reason, and it's the best way to do it within football. It's more the issue
Yeah,
of that's not maybe the lifestyle that you wanted to live, although it's the career that you wanted to go down, and those two things maybe didn't line up too perfectly. And I also think that maybe with the social media, because you saw what it was like and what it could be like without the football, because you had that backup, maybe that's a bit more tempting.
I think it was a mix of all of that in a sense because I think with the lateness of other people, that probably I do get where you're coming from in football. That is a lot of things that happen. Like so many people are late; they don't really care. They just rock up and they've got that kind of attitude about them. Like not like us, we'll get there on time, half an hour early if we need, be an hour early, do extras. We have that 1% mindset. So that doesn't apply to us in that sense. But it's also like, right, okay, you're in the club at 7. I was getting there at 6:30. You train and then you'd be leaving by like 1, 2. But I want to do these other things in my life. I want to have business ventures. I want to go off and do a Gordon Ramsay cooking class at 3 p.m. and I can't now get there because I have to drive 3 hours to it. But I have football. And I'm not saying that in a bad way where football wasn't a priority to me. Like, as you've seen, a lot of people have seen, like, football was my main priority. And I put that at the forefront for so many years. But I think it came to a point where it was like, right, I need to just focus on my life. I don't want to just end up sacrificing 30 years of my life just to have an average League One champ career, and not enjoy any of my time in that sense. Like, I'm just stuck to football. When I say enjoy, obviously you're enjoying it through football, but it's such a hard topic to go around because there's so many people out there still doing it, and I want to push them off this path of football, because it's a thing. I mean, I'd say I still love, but yeah, it's just other things in my life I'd much rather pay attention to and focus on because I feel like I get more value, and get a better feeling out of doing.
Interesting. So I actually, again, this is where I'm different with you. You said that like after football you'd want to go do your own thing. For me, I actually would never do anything like that. I would just get home, study like football stuff. I'd go through, analysis, do my LinkedIn, outreach, things like that. Yeah, of course I had to make money for myself as well, but you know how cheap I am with things. I purposely did that so I could spend more time with football. Liam, I don't know how much you'd be training per day, but I would be, minimum 3 sessions. So I think you'd probably be the same, but after training, after team training. So gym morning, team training, and then evening I'd do a session. So my days was always taken up by training. So yeah.
I'd say it's probably a bit different in terms of
What was it
position
like
as
for
well.
you?
Like, because there's only a certain amount with football. Like, if you're a goalkeeper, I'd say you can probably do a bit more sessions because it's not as fatiguing, like leg wise. Actually, I need to put that to you. What is that like?
No, you are right. I do think that as a goalkeeper, I could do a bit more training, but it was probably just more taxing on my body long term rather than short term. But a part of my training was also massive part was recovery and flexibility. So if I was even talking about recovery sessions, I'd be doing hour of gym in the morning, 30 minutes of stretching, then team training. So that would be, I'd get in at around 5:30 to team training, would start training at around 9 and then finish at around midday or 11 a.m. And then at around 5
get there at
p.m.
5:30
I'd
in the
go
morning?
train again. Yeah. And then train again. So that was
That's nuts.
my regime when I was in Germany.
Yeah, that's
But at
crazy.
Sydney FC,
I mean-
was like even crazier, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. For me, I did my max ones were like 3 sessions a day, but they were hard, like 3 sessions. When I say like 3 sessions, it would be like an hour and a half in the morning of fitness and ball work, and then it would be like a hard lower body gym session, and then it would be like going to the track in the evening and doing a sprint session, which is very taxing on the body. So like when I say 3 sessions, a lot of mine was like a lot of hard. I'm not saying yours wasn't, but yeah, it was a lot of kind of that. So over time, it kind of just wears.
No,
on you.
yeah, yours was definitely more fitness based.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's also a reason why I was the fittest in the team as well. So, I mean, that was
So
that
was I,
again though. That was one
just
of
to
my
put it out there.
yeah, that was one of my weaknesses though, and I had to work on that over time. So, yeah, but I never really wanted to do like I watched my games back, I watched all that back, but it's also like once you leave the football space, like you've done your training, you've done your games, it's also like I need to switch off here. I need to have something that takes my mind off it, and that's why I started my Instagram in the first place as well, because I love cooking and love doing food as well. So to document that and do the editing side of it was quite cool. No one else was really doing it at that time. So yeah, that was kind of a big part of it for me to switch off. Did you ever do anything to switch off from it?
Just my rest days. It was 6 days a week, full focus. As soon as I got home, I'd be back into work, football wise, and then it would just be my rest days once a week. And I think that's honestly the most efficient way of doing it. I think if you look at my productivity levels, using that same implementation to the business side, I think is very, very efficient. Maybe it's the wrong way of doing it. I don't know. Maybe it's not the most efficient way, but for me and the trajectory that I believe that I'm going down, I think that it has worked for me. I don't think that necessarily will work for you, Liam. I don't think that would necessarily work for the next guy. But for me, in my life, my situation, I mean, there's also just family things, right? Like if a family thing was to happen on a Sunday and then I have to skip my rest day or something like that, these are just things that I can't give anyone who's listening advice here. I'm just telling you what worked for me at this moment. Give it a try. If it works for you in your lifestyle, use it. But I can't necessarily say that the best way of doing it if I don't know what your life looks like.
Yeah, I don't think it personally would work for me, because on that rest day, I think I'd just be thinking more about it. So, yeah, it's a hard thing. Like even with right now with business and everything, like I'm constantly thinking about it 24/7 when I go to bed, when I wake up. So it's like to sit there on a rest day and do nothing and just scroll. It works for you. Like you can probably switch off from that, but like I'm not saying scroll all day. Put that out there, but yeah. But for me, it's like I need to be doing.
It's a bit more Minecraft.
What's your next topic anyway?
I wish. My next topic was actually even about an Instagram post that I made yesterday. Did you like that Instagram post?
I don't know if I saw it. What was it? Which one?
No, you would have. I'm pretty sure you did. It is.
Oh no, I didn't see it. It was on my. It was on my feed this morning.
I'll show you the camera.
Oh, I saw it on your story this morning.
Yeah, okay. Someone has to do it. Now, my logic behind that, kind of like what the 99% of thing people was going on about, was how, okay, 1% of people, if you want to be in the top 1% of people, so there's such an easy filter to get into that, let's say even top 25% of people. And I believe that to literally just get into the top 25% of people, all you need to do, let me rephrase that because this is a clip, Liam. All you need to do to get into the top 25% of people is literally just believe that you can. Because 75% of people believe that they're not the ones who can do it, and that immediately disqualifies them from ever doing it. If I was to imagine something in a hypothetical situation, even if it's really, really ridiculous, like, okay, there's a ghost around me right now, and I can feel its air whooshing by. If I believe that ghosts aren't real, and they're never, if I ever saw one, I'd rationalize it and say, no, that was just the wind and it made a cool little thing. But if I believed that a ghost was there in front of me and it went past me, then I've got more chance of it being a ghost than not. And it's 0.001% because it's, maybe ghosts aren't real. I don't know. I'm not going to be a ghostbuster here. But the chances are more inclined for the person who believes something. Now, if we take that into actual real life, if you just start to believe something and you completely disbelieve something else or you discredit something else, the person who believes something has a much greater chance of ever making anything work. And so many people believe that they can't make anything work. If you just start to believe that you can be something greater than what you are currently, you will automatically be in the top 25% of people. Maybe these numbers are made up, by the way, like don't quote me on these numbers, but I know so many people who believe that they won't become something. And whatever that something is, they won't because they believe it. Whatever you believe to be true is what will happen. The more you believe it, the more likely it's to happen. Someone has to do it.
It's honestly...
Someone has to make live free.
It's quite sad, to be honest, because now that you put it like that, I honestly never even really thought about it too much like that. Like, I'm so in this atmosphere, in this ecosystem where it's like, I'm going to go out there and do it and just do whatever I say. But then it's also like, I don't see the other side of it. I don't see those other people. I do see the people DMing me on Instagram, like, how did you do this? How do you stay so disciplined? How can I be more motivated? How can I get to where you are today? And I try my best to respond to as many of those people as possible. But I forgot what it was like for a second until you just said that, because I was on that side at one point, in terms of when I was just leaving school. So when I was in year 11, down in Plymouth, kind of leaving school, I was in that position. I was like, I feel like I can't go anywhere. Although I was training 3 times a day still at that time and those kind of things, it was just like, I felt like I was getting nowhere. I was still that overweight kid. Like,
yeah. I think the only reason why I have that awareness to this is because I see my previous thought patterns, as you said, and then we also live in a bubble, Liam. Like you and I, we created a bubble for us, so that we don't see what people are actually like.
But you're also where you grew up. I'm not where I grew up anymore. So like you see the people you grew up with, and you're seeing the people you grew up with. I don't see anyone that I grew up with, so I don't kind of know what they were previously and what they are now. Like I can't kind of envision what they could become, envision what they are now. Like I don't see any of those people still. A lot of those people for me are back in Australia. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. What do you think?
I think we both created a purposeful bubble for us. Like even though I still see people who I grew up with, I rarely see them, and a lot of the time it's like an accident that I see them. I only choose to see 1 or 2 of them, and when I'm thinking about when I was living overseas and whatnot, I would very rarely contact them, and I'd be in my own bubble, and that was for a purposeful reason. We both did that for a reason, I think. And as much as we're better for it, there are also good things to realize and reflect on when you go outside of it. I mean, hear me out. This is what my rationale has always been. I actually believe that you should create a bubble that's really, really tight knit, and you shouldn't go outside of it when you're young. And then you build up all the skills that you need, whether it's confidence, whether it's the way that you dress, whether it's the way that you speak to people, whatever it is, you build it up in that really, really tight circle so that you have the skills then to break free from that bubble and actually share it with people and actually start to be more confident in public. Maybe it's start to have better conversations with people. I think that if you can create a space where you can really, really develop with a good group of people who aren't actually just saying yes, 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 who are actually helping you develop, like what we've got, Liam, that is actually then going to help you build the confidence to then expand that bubble, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I was only saying it in the sense of like, if you did bump into someone, like you might see them working at KFC or like whatever, like, you know what I mean? Not that you're going to KFC. Maybe you do.
I should go to KFC. I should. It's 2 minutes down the road, and yeah, a lot of people from my old school work there still. So, I could get some cheap KFC.
That's what I meant in that perspective. And I'm not saying it's like everyone needs to be achieving these amazing things, but it's, yeah, as you mentioned about the 1%, it's different. And you know what I didn't realize when you were saying about the 1% thing? I saw a video the other week was saying, if you do a 100-mile race, that puts you in the top 0.1% of people in the world.
I have a list of all the things that I'm in the... Yeah. I have a list of all the things that I'm in the 0.1% of people in. Like, resting heart rate would both be there. Training-wise, when it was football, was obviously different. My peak resting heart rate was... Well, peak is in lowest, consistently, was 36 BPM for that month, which was September 2023, and then it went... I think average is around 44. But that's also, I'm not training as much, obviously. So yeah, it's not too much of an issue for me anymore. Well, a concern, not issue. It's not going to be an issue for me, but yeah, too much of a concern.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, being in the 0.01%, like as I said, like I literally had a list so that I could start to create that narrative for myself. That yeah, look at me, I'm in the 0.01% of most people already, and all I did was just make a few decisions. It's actually really, really easy to start being in the 0.01%, and if you can start making those decisions to just turn right instead of left, well, yeah, you're really trying to just be a little bit different, and to get different results, you have to take different actions.
They're easy decisions to make. They're also easy decisions not to make, and a lot of people struggle to make those decisions. That's the problem. Like, a lot of people don't want to make those easy
they want to live
decisions.
in comfort.
Yeah, they want to eat the unhealthy meal. They don't want to cook a chicken with some vegetables and those kind of things. They just want to get the takeaway prep or the takeaway meal on the way home, or they don't want to go for the morning workout because they're going to be tired. And they might feel heavy for the rest of the day, but they actually will feel better, much better throughout the rest of the day, because a lot of people don't take that first step because they don't realize what's on the other side of it. That's the problem. They don't see the benefit because they want it instantly. They don't stick with it for 3 months because they want it in 2 seconds. So, yeah.
Maybe we could talk about how instant gratification is trained quickly. We don't have too much time left, but what you just spoke about there is very important. Now, a quick little spiel and summary is, okay, Liam just spoke about how people have a demand for instant gratification. They always want the next thing, the next source of dopamine. Think about how that's very, very clear in our current lifestyle. Maybe it's through results, maybe it's through changing and chopping and starting a new thing, maybe it's someone's attention span. Well, it's actually being trained into us, right? These things here are like weapons, the legitimate weapons that are training you into taking the easy route. This is always the easy route. And, I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect here, but I do set up purposeful restrictions.
For that iPhone 5, by the way.
Yeah, okay, cheers. Yeah.
I just needed a button to say that, sorry. He does have a better phone, don't worry.
This is actually the 12. That's the bad one.
Oh, it's the 12.
I also dropped it the other day. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
But I there was a point where I was going to go to a Motorola, like a flip phone, and I still will try and get there one day.
No,
obviously business demands.
Go back to what you were speaking about.
Okay, yeah. Phone, so talking about instant gratification, and we are being trained. We are actually being trained in real time, although it's not necessarily purposeful. We are training ourselves. We're really getting the reps in. We're getting the reps in quick to train ourselves that, yeah, the next thing's going to be the better thing. Oh, the next thing's going to be the better thing. And then when we start training ourselves that, oh, yeah, our attention span goes everywhere. And when we put this into a real life circumstance, you don't take action on things because you're looking for the next source of dopamine. If you look at dopamine, it's kind of like a resting heart rate. Okay, the more you do it, the lower your resting heart rate gets. That's efficiency. You're training your brain to be so efficient in consuming things, but that's actually not what you want from your brain, because consuming things isn't a good thing in life. Overconsumption isn't a good thing. Overtraining, okay, overtrain until your heart can tense. I actually have no issue with overtraining if you recover enough for it. I think, Liam, you probably have the same stance with me there. But when it comes to consumption, it's very, very clear to say that over-consuming things, whether it's content, whether it's food, this is training bad habits, and it's actually teaching you in life that you need the next source of dopamine as soon as possible. And this is where you get people who start something and stop it immediately. Maybe this is where they actually don't even want to then go do something because they've trained themselves to get instant gratification, and the joy on the other side of doing something hard is something that they'll never achieve. Have you ever had, Liam, where you felt like not training before?
I get that most days. I got that the other day. I had to run a 10K, and I had to run a 10K post ultra, and I was like, "Fuck, this is gonna be such a slog. Like, I don't want to do this." And I needed to run it quick as well, because I needed not quick, but I needed to run like 4:30 pace for it, and I was so out of breath. I forgot that I couldn't run as quick post ultra, and I could have just stopped and walked home. To be honest, I was thinking about that like 4K into it. I got the 10K done, but before getting out of bed, I was like, I don't want to do this at all. But as you just said with the dopamine, I personally think that's a big thing right now. A lot of people are seeing this instant gratification, people getting rich off of a quick scheme, getting millions of pounds by the age they're 20. You can't expect that. Like,
very true.
You can't expect that overnight. Nothing's successful. Oh, and even if it does happen, you're probably going to lose it overnight as well.
And it doesn't teach you good habits anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that video you sent me about Iman Gadji's scamming thing, about like obviously him potentially being a scammer. I'm not going into that. I don't really care about that. But he's also,
and we don't believe that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't really care, to be honest. What I do care about is he's taught this younger audience to want something and to think it's easy in a way. Like, think it can happen in.
I don't think that's his product, but maybe incidentally.
No, but it's not his product, definitely not. But he also says, right, just start a social media agency, sign your first client within the space of 3 weeks, and you'll be making $5,000 a month. Like, it doesn't happen like that. Do you know what I mean?
We could get a little bit political here and talk about how I think that's just how the system works. The system is teaching you quick fixes, and the system, because that's more profitable.
It does,
it's just more profitable. Generally, it's just more profitable.
It does, but it's also like he sells a course off the back of it to how to run an agency. And I mean, we could go into a lot of that, but all these people,
where's his agency?
All these people are telling people that they can achieve something in a 1 to 2 month time, and it's going to be like that for the rest of their life. But in fact, it actually takes months and months to build on something actually sustainable and a great foundation. And I think you have to have that mindset going into anything that you're doing, whether it's your diet, whether it's your business, whether it's your work, school, whatever. Like, you can't expect an A grade going from a C grade or a D grade. You can expect an A grade going from a B plus, because that's a small gap that you have to close. But going from a D grade, you can't expect to get an A grade instantly overnight. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. What did I tell you about, Liam, when we were looking at creating our own agency? Do you remember?
Agency?
Yeah. Remember before Live Free, and the reason why I posed Live Free to you instead of the agency was because of a specific reason.
Oh yeah, it wasn't necessarily a marketing agency. It was more a like
Just agency,
skill
just the agency
arbitrage.
business model.
Yeah, skill arbitrage. Um, I fully can't remember if I'm being honest. I think it was there's so many people doing it or something. I don't know. Saturated.
Yeah, there were a few reasons, and my biggest reason for not doing it, sorry, was one, why us? But I think that we could do anything and also make it us as well. But I think that the biggest thing was, why would so many people be telling you, yeah, do this, do this, do this, and not do it themselves? And even if they were doing it themselves, don't you think that they'd probably want to be doing something else other than creating other competitors who can possibly do a better job than them? I mean, just think about
To
it
be
in that
fair,
way.
yeah.
Why would Iman Gaji or someone alike be saying, yeah, do what I do, do what I do. It's brilliant.
I agree with that.
Because and then I'll sell you this course because I'm so good at it.
It was hard though, because in terms of what I was saying with the agency thing, it wasn't necessarily anyone had to, and still don't really say. I mean, there's a few. I mean, I've not really seen anyone big say it in that sense with the clips kind of agency thing. I think it would still be a great business model if anyone out there wants to do it. But yeah, hey, maybe we start that later on down the line once Live Free successful.
There's possibilities. There's possibilities for sure. I mean, yeah,
I really like that episode. Though,
the other thing. Well, I actually wanted to just finish on something. Sorry. There was one thing that I recalled saying, and it was about how I asked you about, do you find or have you felt training and not want to do it before? I think that would be the same here, and this is where I wanted to take it, was the question I was expecting you to say, or in an ideal situation where I would agree with you on, would be, you say, yeah, I never feel like training, but that's never stopped me from training, and it's never actually made me late to training or anything like that. Like, you've never procrastinated training, for example, right?
No, I wouldn't say never. I definitely have. Like, I've sat there on.
But you've never missed a training session.
Rainy. I've never missed it, no, but I've procrastinated it.
Yeah.
In the sense that like that it's raining outside and I have to go to a football session on a muddy pitch. And when I say raining, like England, raining, and like I procrastinate going outside, get into my car. But I don't miss the time I need to do it at. I maybe miss 5 minutes of work beforehand because I'm thinking about it, but nothing crazy. No, I still get the work done and the training done. To be fair, my procrastination is probably
that's the answer I was hoping for.
A lot of other people's procrastination is probably like 5 hours.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was hoping for you to say. And on that, I would say this is where that's all we know. All we know is doing what we say we're going to do. And like literally, our procrastination is typically not even like, it's not because I don't feel like doing it, because we probably just never feel like doing it anyways, but we just don't let that control us. We just go do it anyways. A lot of the time, the reason if we don't want to do something, it's probably not something that we can directly control, like the weather or something like that. I've been there where it's, a rainy day and the oval's horrible, but okay, maybe I just do a session in the garage. Maybe I just do a session somewhere else, and I just make it so convenient and so easy to do it that you've got no other option but to. And you just create an environment where there are no excuses to be made. And I genuinely think that that's a really, really easy and good way to do it. Just make an environment so that you've got zero excuses but to do the thing. And that's actually exactly what we've got with this podcast, I believe. We're making it so easy. That's why we're not too fast on production as of the past few months, is because we just wanted to make it so easy that we can just upload consistently, and never miss an episode, because eventually it will just be so easy for us to do episodes, and then we can start fixating on the smaller things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, bro, I think we can wrap it up there.
Perfect. Yeah, I a lot of value in that episode, to be honest. Actually, there's a load of different things we went over.
Yeah.
My camera is currently on 17%, so I need to make sure that's on charge for the next episode because I want to go longer.
We did get it charged.
Yeah. But I will speak to you guys we will speak to you guys in the next episode. Make sure you leave reviews, because it does help us in terms of pushing it out to more people. Like if you're on YouTube, comment if you're on YouTube, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next episode. Peace out.
100%. Catch you later, guys.